Welcome to our very first Misfits All Access. And what better place to kick things all off than in the city of Manchester, where it all began. Now, some of you may recognise Manchester for its football prowess, or its rich boxing heritage from Tyson Fury. However, today we're here to talk about where it all started, the Manchester AO Arena. This was the epicentre where KSI and Logan Paul clashed in a memorable night of boxing, forever altering the course of the boxing world. This event propelled Jake Paul to face former UFC champions and led Logan Paul to step in the ring with none other than the greatest of all time, Floyd Money Mayweather. And in turn, KSI built our beloved Misfits Boxing. The ripple effect of that night inspired hundreds of thousands to take up boxing and prove their worth to the world. Among these rising stars, one has recently emerged from the scene and is set to make his Misfits debut on September 23rd against fan favourite OJ Rosé.
Now,
Hey, meet Callum Izzard, also known as the Killer Bee.
I went for Izzard by name, is hard by nature. That was mine, but you know, Mams and a few other people in the Misfits that was quite high up said that they see my training videos and came up with the Killer Bee. So if the Killer Bee is what it's gonna be, I'm gonna sting him. Then the bee dies though. What the? Like a bee dies, a bee stings him once, then you die. I don't want to have that. Like I wouldn't be a wasp. Yeah.
He understands the level of dedication required to compete at the highest level, making the quest for the right coach no easy task. Enter Marvin Tomlinson, a coach who is anything but ordinary. Marvin regularly spars with top-level opponents in the professional boxing scene, and this experience is deeply embedded in his coaching methods.
So obviously, Callum Alexandre, you've just trained him today. You had a bit of involvement in his first fight. What's the developments you've seen since that first fight?
so Callum is naturally quite athletic. So in terms of his footwork, his movement, his ability to pick up new moves quite quick, they come quite quick. So his development's been really good. I trained him a bit for the first fight. We did some work, and obviously he's gone elsewhere, done some more work, and come back to do some little bit of extra stuff.
Now, obviously, Callum's skill level, where do you see it at compared to all these other Misfits boxers, etc.?
So in terms of like natural raw talent, I'm not even just saying this just to say it. Callum's naturally, fundamentally better than a lot of these guys, just because he does a lot of natural things quite well. If I was to compare him up there, like I said, you're going to have to see him on the night properly to get a good idea with fighting these guys, to see where he's at and how good he is. I would say he's up there, therefore like in the top 10.
So what's impressed you most when seeing Callum sparring, for example, seeing him in the actual ring against someone?
So I've sparred Callum, he relaxes really well. He puts his punches really well together, and he also is able to throw like the hardest shots quite natural. It's all, for me, with Callum, it's all about his natural ability to pick up these skills and then move on to the next level. He does that really well.
Now let's fast forwards to November 26, 2022, when Callum had his first fight on the Rage Combat card, facing off against none other than James Tinsdale, a formidable bodybuilder. From the moment the first bell rang, Callum was on the front foot, outclassing his opponent. Within the first few rounds, he had already broken his opponent's nose, yet the fight was persisted. As rounds went on, it became evident that Callum was on a whole different level. That night, Callum showcased the raw, natural talent that defines him.
That first fight, what was it like? It wasn't on Misfits. Not everyone's seen it. Talk to me what that first fight was like.
Oh, my first fight. To be honest, I don't even like talking about the first fight. My first fight, to be honest with you, like, I don't even like talking about the first fight. I watch clips from the first fight and I kind of get a bit embarrassed, I can't lie. Like, the way that my fighting technique, my form, my speed, my accuracy, my tech, everything is just the way that it's improved in the last, well, to be honest, it's going to be like almost like 10 months now. I'm just a different fighter. But all I can say is I've never been so tired in my entire life. But you know, we got the job done and we did what needed to be done. I don't think it'll be going that long this time.
And now when we talk about that first fight you had against a much bigger opponent, what did you make of that first initial fight? What did you make of his skills on the night?
He showed grit in terms of when the going got a bit tough. He's like willing to then sit there and showed heart, sit there and sit in his punches a bit more instead of just like trying to, a lot of these people are trying to use skills. Sometimes you do need a bit of like, you need a bit of dog in you. You need a little bit of, oh my God, this fuck is in front of me. Let me get him away from it. And he showed that, which is really good because that's the heart side of it. The skill wise, I believe he's up there with the skill wise with a lot of them. I'd probably say closer to Salt Poppy than a lot of other people.
Now Callum's upcoming fight is against none other than OJ Rosé, a fan favourite. While many of you may be witnessing Callum in the ring for the first time, line. One thing is for certain, and that's to expect fireworks. This fight promises to be one of the most competitive matchups of the night, with strong contention for fight of the night. The winner can anticipate big opportunities on the horizon. So it's truly an all-in or nothing scenario. Win it all or risk losing everything you've worked for.
Look, at the end of the day, I'll be honest, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, and that's it.